We've all seen those news headlines, right? The endless stream of diet fads, they all promise instant health, these anti-aging results.
Oh, absolutely. And we've sort of been trained to look for these secrets to longevity in really complex places,
Exactly, in like expensive supplements or these high-tech clinics.
or buried in some multi-million-dollar medical study that takes decades. It creates this perception that the secret has to be difficult
Yeah.
or rare or, well, expensive.
But the source material we're looking at today suggests something completely different. I mean, what if the most effective, scientifically backed allies in the fight against aging aren't locked away in a lab?
What if they're accessible right now?
Right, maybe even sitting in your kitchen fruit bowl as we speak.
That's the core idea.
And that's the whole premise of this deep dive. Today, we're trying to move past that really vague advice of, oh, just eat more fruits and vegetables.
Right. It's not specific enough to be actionable.
Not at all. We're zeroing in on 5 specific fruits that science has consistently linked to longevity and healthy aging. And we're going to understand exactly how they work.
We're going beneath the surface.
Okay.
We want to identify the biologically active compounds, the flavonoids, the specialized fibers, the powerful enzymes.
These things that literally interact with your DNA and your cellular machinery to, I guess, slow down the clock.
That's the goal. Our mission here is to give you actionable, really granular knowledge. We're uncovering 5 of what you could call functional foods. They don't just offer general wellness.
No, they actively support the core pillars of a long, healthy life.
Exactly. We're talking cognitive function, cardiovascular health, cellular repair, gut integrity, and fighting inflammation system-wide. We're connecting the dots, between a simple kitchen staple and some very complex biological benefits.
So we are diving deep into the science behind these 5 longevity fruits. We'll explain the mechanisms that protect your neurons, that stabilize blood sugar.
And even help your body clean out its own damaged cellular parts. It's incredible stuff.
It really is. And to set the stage for a deep dive today, we're going to cover 4 extremely potent fruits, but the 5th one, this is the one that's arguably the most common, the most accessible.
And yet, as our research shows, it's the one almost nobody uses with an awareness of its full, almost radical anti-aging potential.
Right. So we're looking for sustained, long-term health gains.
Achieved through consistent, simple habits. The goal isn't just a longer life, it's a longer health span. I mean, those are the years you get to enjoy being strong and independent and vital.
That's the key difference. Okay, let's unpack this. Let's start with the systems that really define our quality of life as we age. The brain and the heart. We are jumping right into section 1. The first, shield. So fruit number 1, the true defender of our cognitive health. The humble blueberry. I mean, these little things are often called a superfood, but the specific targeted way, they protect the aging brain. That's why they earn the top spot for us here.
The scientific focus on blueberries isn't just, because they taste good.
Yeah.
It's because of their remarkable concentration of these protective compounds. When researchers at Tufts University started studying their effects on the brain,
Yes.
the term they actually settled on was the brain's shield. And that was a deliberate choice. It reflects the fruit's ability to literally defend your neurons against daily stress and degeneration.
So a shield. And that defense is mounted by specific molecules inside, right? Right. We have to talk about anthocyanins.
We do.
For our listener, if you see that deep, rich blue or purple color in a fruit, you're looking right at a high concentration of anthocyanins. They're part of the flavonoid family. But how do these colorful compounds go from just being pigments to being powerful brain protectors?
Okay, so that's where the mechanism gets really compelling. Anthocyanins are exceptionally bioavailable, and here's the crucial part. They are one of the very few dietary compounds that can actually cross the blood-brain barrier.
Wow. Okay, so explain that. The blood-brain barrier is like, what, a security checkpoint?
Think of it as the most strict security checkpoint imaginable. It's designed to protect your central nervous system from any toxins or pathogens that might be in your bloodstream. So the fact that anthocyanins can get past this barrier
It means they can get in and interact directly with brain tissue.
directly, yeah.
And what do they do once they're in there? Is it just like a cleanup operation?
It's more sophisticated than just cleanup. Yes, they are powerful antioxidants, so they neutralize what are called reactive oxygen species, which is basically cellular rust. It's a great way to think of it.
Okay.
But their real power in the brain is how they modulate inflammation and enhance the signaling pathways. Oxidative stress, that cellular rust, it triggers the immune cells in your brain. They're called microglia.
Microglia. Got it.
And when those microglia are chronically active, They release these inflammatory signals that damage neurons. Anthocyanins step in and intervene in those inflammatory pathways, effectively calming down those hyperactive microglia. They quiet the inflammatory storm that underlies so much of age-related cognitive decline.
So it's not just protecting the cell, it's actually regulating the cell's entire neighborhood to promote better communication and health.
That's it exactly. And the research shows this. It shows that regular intake of these compounds can improve neuronal signaling, enhancing that communication between brain cells.
And our sources connect this directly to improved memory and focus.
Absolutely. Specifically, they support the hippocampus, which is the area of the brain vital for forming and retrieving memories. As we age, our cognitive processing speed and our ability to pull up specific memories, it tends to slow down.
Yeah.
Blueberries appear to directly counteract that trend.
Let's make this real. We have the story of Robert, a 78-year-old retired math teacher from Ohio. I mean, this is a guy whose whole life was about logic, instant recall, those were his tools. But he was starting to experience that really common and frankly, disheartening slide.
Forgetting names, keys.
Forgetting names, can't find his keys, that crushing anxiety that comes when your own mind feels unreliable.
That sense of cognitive fragility, it really impacts a person's dignity and their independence. It's profound. And Robert's intervention was, it was remarkably simple.
Just 1 cup of blueberries.
1 cup.
Yeah.
And we should note, this can be fresh or frozen. Freezing actually preserves the integrity of the anthocyanins very well. So he added that 1 cup to his morning oatmeal or smoothie every single day.
And the result wasn't just this vague feeling of, oh, I feel better.
No, it was concrete.
After a sustained period, maybe 3 to 4 months, Robert reported real, measurable improvements. His episodic memory, so remembering specific events and appointments, and his working memory, the ability to hold and manipulate information quickly.
And crucially, he reported a significant increase in his confidence.
That confidence piece is huge.
It's critical. When that underlying brain infrastructure is fortified, focus gets sharper, recall becomes more reliable. This transition from cognitive slippage to robust function is exactly what the science of anthocyanins suggests is possible.
It's a direct example of protecting your long-term independence with something you can just buy at the grocery store.
We aren't just talking about extending life. We're talking about safeguarding the quality of that life, ensuring your mind stays sharp and engaged.
A really compelling defense for the brain. So now let's pivot to the second major shield in our longevity defense system, the heart. And the fruit that defends it, the mighty avocado.
If blueberries are the brain shield, then avocados are the essential structural support for the entire vascular system.
A lot of people still hesitate, though. They hear high fat and they think it can't be an anti-aging food.
I know, but that fat content is precisely its strength. We're talking about high concentrations of healthy monounsaturated fats, along with potassium, and a really impressive amount of fiber.
So how does that specific combination, the fats, the potassium, the fiber, how does it work to combat age-related cardiovascular decline? We hear constantly that high blood pressure, hardening of the arteries, is just an inevitable part of getting older.
It's common, but it's not inevitable. And the avocado fights both of those things very actively. Let's start with the fats, which is primarily oleic acid.
Okay.
This specific monounsaturated fat has been shown to improve lipoprotein profiles.
Yeah.
It helps raise the good HDL cholesterol, which acts like a scavenger, removing excess cholesterol from the arteries.
And it lowers the bad stuff.
And it helps lower the problematic LDL cholesterol. This whole action reduces the risk of plaque buildup, which is really the foundational problem of age-related arterial stiffening.
So the fats are essential for the actual health of the blood vessels themselves.
Exactly. But the potassium is equally vital. Avocados are one of the best dietary sources of potassium you can find. And potassium is the direct counter-regulator to sodium.
Right, the salt balance.
It's the salt balance. When sodium levels are high, the body retains fluid and it constricts the blood vessel walls. Potassium encourages vasodilation, the relaxing and widening of those vessel walls. And this relaxation directly leads to lower blood pressure. That's crucial because chronic high blood pressure, hypertension, is a primary accelerator of damage to the endothelium.
Let's pause on that word, endothelium, because that sounds like it's at the core of cardiovascular aging.
It is. The endothelium is the delicate, single-cell thick lining of all of our arteries. It should be smooth and flexible, allowing blood to flow without any problems. It also produces nitric oxide, a compound that signals relaxation and prevents clotting.
So high blood pressure damages this lining.
It physically stresses it. It causes these micro tears, which the body then tries to patch up with inflammation and eventually plaque. The avocado, through its potassium and healthy fats, helps maintain the functional integrity of that endothelium, keeping your vascular highway smooth and responsive.
We have the story of Frank, 75, a former firefighter from Texas, and Frank was doing everything right.
He was active, he was on medication,
But his blood pressure was still stubbornly high, putting him at constant risk.
and Frank represents a huge portion of the aging population where, conventional interventions aren't fully solving the problem. His doctor recommended a targeted shift toward heart-healthy fats, recognizing that the foundation of his diet might be lacking the high-quality fuel needed for vascular repair.
And Frank made a swap that looked so minor on the surface, but biologically it was profound. He traded his standard processed breakfast
Often a refined carb-heavy sandwich.
for whole grain toast topped with half an avocado.
The key is that the substitution wasn't just adding something good, it was replacing something that was likely accelerating the problem. Refined sugars, poor quality fats.
He was taking out the bad stuff and putting in dense nutrition.
Precisely. And the results were dramatic within a few months. His blood pressure readings improved significantly, stabilizing at a much healthier level. It even allowed his medication to work more effectively.
It just highlights this crucial point. The body often needs better foundational building blocks.
Right. High-quality fats, essential electrolytes like potassium and fiber. It needs these things to heal itself and maintain its youthful function. You just can't build a robust system on nutrient-poor fuel.
It makes you rethink the whole concept of dieting. It's not about restriction, it's about strategic substitution with these high-impact foods.
Avocados just exemplify the power of healthy fats in maintaining vascular function. They prove they are essential allies, not dietary enemies, in achieving a long, healthy life.
Okay, so we've defended the brain with anthocyanins, we've fortified the heart with monounsaturated fats and potassium. Now we need to shift to the most fundamental level, fighting aging at the very core of our existence, the cell itself.
Which brings us to fruit number 3, the pomegranate.
This is a fruit that's just steeped in history. You see it as a symbol of life, of fertility, immortality across all these ancient cultures.
From Egyptian mythology to Greek history.
It feels like they knew something that we've only recently been able to confirm with science.
That ancient reverence is now backed by some really compelling modern data. The pomegranate is an absolute powerhouse. It's packed not just with general antioxidants, but with extremely potent compounds called elagitannins.
Elagitannins. That's a new one for me.
They're a class of polyphenols. And they aren't just great antioxidants, they interact with your internal ecosystem in specific, measurable ways to manage cellular lifespan.
Let's drill down into those specific benefits, because this feels like where we move beyond just simple defense and into active rejuvenation. We're talking about improving blood flow, strengthening arteries, fighting inflammation.
And most importantly, slowing aging at the cellular level.
How? What's the mechanism?
The cellular anti-aging mechanism of the pomegranate is, I think, perhaps the most fascinating discovery in recent longevity research. And it all hinges on the interaction between the pomegranate's elagitannins and your gut microbiome.
Wait, so the fruit itself isn't doing the heavy lifting? It needs our gut bacteria to work.
That is the critical piece. You got it.
Yeah.
The elagitannins are actually very large molecules that our bodies can't readily absorb. They travel down to the colon, where specific beneficial gut bacteria break them down and transform them into a metabolite called urolithin A.
Urolithin A. Okay, so that's the longevity compound we need to remember from this discussion.
That's the one. And it is urolithin A that provides the breakthrough cellular benefits.
And what is its specific job inside the cell?
Urolithin A directly supports mitochondrial health.
The powerhouse of the cell, right?
The powerhouse of the cell. They produce the energy currency, ATP, that runs our entire bodies. But as we age, our mitochondria accumulate damage, they become inefficient, and they start to leak those reactive oxygen species we mentioned earlier.
So we're essentially dealing with old, rusty power generators inside our cells, causing systemic problems.
Precisely. And when a cell has too many of these dysfunctional mitochondria, the cell itself becomes dysfunctional and it starts sending out pro-inflammatory signals. It contributes to what scientists call inflammaging.
So urolithin A is like the mechanic that comes in to fix them.
Even better, it triggers a process called mitophagy. Think of mitophagy as the cell's internal quality control crew. It's a mechanism where the cell identifies and eliminates the old, damaged, dysfunctional mitochondria, and then it recycles their components.
So it makes way for fresh, efficient power generators.
Exactly. By enhancing mitophagy, pomegranates via urolithin A literally help rejuvenate your cellular infrastructure. And if you can keep your cells supplied by efficient power, you impact everything. Your energy levels, tissue repair, organ function.
That is an immense biological benefit, and it all links back to improved circulation, which you mentioned is the body's delivery system.
Circulation is paramount. Beyond those direct cellular benefits, pomegranate compounds also enhance the production and stability of nitric oxide in the arteries.
Which leads to more vasodilation, that relaxing of the blood vessels.
And smoother, more efficient blood flow. This makes sure oxygen and all the other nutrients we've been talking about, like anthocyanins from blueberries and healthy fats from avocados, get delivered efficiently throughout the body.
We see this impact directly in the story of Dorothy, 80 years old, from Michigan. Dorothy wasn't dealing with a specific disease, but more that general malaise of aging.
Right. Constant fatigue, a lack of vitality, and stiff joints. That's a classic sign of chronic inflammation and poor peripheral circulation.
She was struggling with a loss of mobility and energy. It was severely restricting her enjoyment of life.
And the intervention she adopted was consistent consumption. Just half a cup of concentrated pomegranate juice each morning.
And you specify the juice here for a reason.
We do. While the whole fruit is excellent, the highly concentrated polyphenols in a quality juice can provide a really robust dose needed for this specific systemic effect.
And what did that consistent dose of polyphenols and future urolithin A achieve for her?
Within weeks, the shift began. The reduction in systemic inflammation, coupled with improved oxygen and nutrient delivery from better circulation, it meant her muscles and her joints received more functional fuel.
So she could move easier.
She moved easier, her subjective fatigue dropped dramatically, and she found she could walk longer without discomfort. It's a perfect example of how fighting inflammation and promoting mitochondrial health translates directly into greater physical capacity and a better health span.
The simple equation holds true. Better blood flow leads to better energy, better mobility, and ultimately a better, more active life.
Right. From the cellular level, we can now transition to the internal ecosystem that really governs everything, the gut and the immune system.
Which brings us to fruit number 4, the papaya. And based on its targeted mechanisms, I completely agree with our sources that this is arguably the most strategically underrated longevity fruit we have access to.
It's so underrated. It's often just seen as a tropical treat, but its impact on our internal environment is massive.
And it's underrated, I think, because the importance of the gut to longevity has only really become universally appreciated recently.
Exactly. We now understand that gut health governs not only how well you absorb nutrients, but also how regulated your immune system is and how balanced your inflammatory response is. The gut is central command.
Let's dive into the core of its power, which is its enzymatic action. Papaya contains this natural, powerful enzyme called papain.
Papain is a protease. That means it's an enzyme specifically evolved to break down proteins. And this is incredibly important for the aging process.
Why specifically for aging?
Well, as we get older, the efficiency of our digestive system often declines. Hydrochloric acid production in the stomach can decrease, pancreatic enzyme output can wane.
So the body starts to struggle with something as fundamental as processing protein?
It does. And when proteins are not properly broken down into their building blocks, amino acids, they can putrefy in the lower gut. That creates gas, bloating, and inflammatory byproducts.
So papain acts like a supplement to this diminishing natural process.
A powerful supplement. By efficiently breaking down proteins, it reduces that undigested load entering the colon. That minimizes the cause of digestive discomfort, and crucially, it ensures that the valuable amino acids needed for muscle repair, hormone synthesis, immune cell creation.
But actually absorbed by the body.
Right. Without proper absorption, even the highest quality diet is wasted.
This means the papaya isn't just relieving bloating, it's optimizing the entire nutritional chain. It's making sure the benefits of the other 4 fruits can actually be utilized.
That's the strategic brilliance of the papaya. It supports assimilation. But the fruit also offers a huge direct gift to the aging immune system, and that's its vitamin C content.
The numbers here are just astonishing. A single serving of papaya provides well over 100% of the daily recommended vitamin C. Why is that specific high concentration so vital for an older adult's immune system?
The immune system naturally becomes less robust as we age. It's a phenomenon known as immunosenescence. We become more susceptible to pathogens, our immune responses are slower, less effective.
Right.
And vitamin C is absolutely essential for supporting key immune cell functions. particularly our white blood cells. It helps them fight infection, and it's rapidly depleted during times of stress or illness.
So providing a massive, consistent daily dose is basically keeping the immune system primed and ready for action.
Absolutely. And what's more, vitamin C is critical for collagen synthesis. Collagen isn't just for skin elasticity. It's a foundational component of all our connective tissues, including the lining of our gut and our skin, which form our primary barriers against pathogens. Papaya offers this foundational immune fortification.
We see the impact of poor gut function in the story of Margaret, 76, from Florida. She had battled digestive misery for years, persistent bloating, discomfort, just this general malaise after every major meal.
Margaret's symptoms were classic signs of a digestive system struggling with efficiency. When the gut is constantly inflamed or struggling to process food, the body diverts immense energy to digestion, and that steals resources from vitality and immunity.
And her simple intervention was eating a small, manageable bowl of fresh papaya immediately after lunch.
The timing is strategic. It wasn't a restrictive diet.
Right.
By introducing papain, right when the body was undertaking its most substantial digestive task of the day, she gave her system the enzymatic lift it needed. The results followed quickly.
Less bloating meant less discomfort.
And better nutrient absorption translated directly to a noticeable lift in her energy and overall well-being.
It really reinforces that foundational concept that a healthy gut is central to a healthy life. By supporting digestion with enzymes like papain, we minimize inflammation that starts in the gut and that frees up energy for all these other longevity functions.
The papaya is truly a quiet hero. It stabilizes the internal ecosystem so that all the other anti-aging processes from mitophagy to vascular repair can function optimally.
We have covered 4 pillars: brain defense, heart strength, cellular rejuvenation, and gut optimization. Now, we arrive at the final fruit, the one that is so common, so readily available, and yet its scientific payoff is consistently underestimated: the apple.
Fruit number 5.
The apple.
It's accessible globally, it's affordable year-round,
And its simplicity almost makes it invisible on a list of superfoods. But the science behind an apple a day proves that common doesn't mean weak. Our sources highlight that its power lies in its consistency and its ability to fight the single greatest underlying cause of age-related decline.
and that underlying cause is systemic inflammation. It's often referred to as inflammaging.
Inflammation.
It's this chronic, low-grade inflammation that is the slow burn that drives nearly every non-communicable age-related disease: neurodegeneration, cardiovascular disease, joint issues. The apple is a daily, inexpensive anti-inflammatory intervention. And its power comes primarily from one key component: pectin.
Pectin. So that's a specific type of soluble fiber. How does a fiber translate its structure into these longevity benefits that fight systemic inflammation?
Pectin performs a dual, highly strategic function in the body. First, in the upper digestive tract, its soluble nature means it forms a gel-like substance.
Okay.
This increased viscosity slows down the speed at which food, and specifically glucose, is absorbed into the bloodstream. This is a massive anti-aging benefit.
Because you're avoiding those sharp blood sugar spikes.
You're minimizing the spikes and crashes, which reduces the stress on your pancreas and prevents the glucose-related tissue damage that accelerates aging. It's an excellent tool for metabolic health.
Which is foundational to longevity.
Absolutely. The second, and arguably more profound function, happens in the lower gut. Pectin is a robust prebiotic.
Meaning it's food for our good gut bacteria.
It's the favorite food source for beneficial bacteria in the colon, like bifidobacteria and lactobacillus. And when these bacteria ferment pectin, they produce enormous quantities of short-chain fatty acids, or SCFAs, primarily one called butyrate.
SCFAs are the famous anti-inflammatory currency of the gut.
They are powerful modulators. Butyrate is the primary energy source for the cells that line your colon, so it maintains the integrity of the gut barrier. A strong gut barrier prevents toxins and inflammatory compounds from leaking into your bloodstream.
So by consistently producing these SCFAs, the apple is directly reducing the amount of systemic inflammation circulating in your body. It's fighting inflammaging every single day.
Every single day. And beyond the pectin, you also get powerful flavonoids like quercetin, mostly in the apple skin, which adds another layer of antioxidant protection.
So you have the metabolic benefit, the gut barrier protection, and the direct anti-inflammatory action all wrapped up in one common fruit.
It is the ultimate low-effort, high-impact intervention. And the sources emphasize that its availability and affordability make consistency achievable for everyone, year after year. The apple isn't some obscure superfood, it's a sustainable life habit.
We can bring this home with the story of Henry, who is 82. Henry wasn't looking for better memory or better blood pressure. He was struggling with painful, crippling joint stiffness that limited his ability to walk and enjoy his retirement.
A classic manifestation of chronic systemic inflammation.
Exactly. His inflammation profile was likely elevated, causing swelling and restricting the mobility in his knees and his hands.
And instead of escalating, pharmacological intervention, Henry adopted the simplest possible change.
One medium apple with the skin every afternoon as a snack.
And a few months later, the results were undeniable. His subjective pain score dropped significantly, his joints felt looser, and his general vitality climbed.
And the key here is that link back to the SCFAs.
By consistently feeding his gut microbiome with pectin, Henry was continuously supplying his body with butyrate, and that steadily lowered that chronic systemic inflammation. When the inflammatory burden drops, tissues relax, pain decreases, and mobility returns. The story of the apple shows us that longevity sometimes really does hide in the most reliable, simplest habits. The best strategy is often the one you can sustain effortlessly.
This has been a true deep dive into the mechanisms. I think we need to synthesize all of this now. So we've identified 5 strategic powerhouse fruits, each with a very specialized, scientifically validated role in extending our health span. We have blueberries, targeting cognitive defense via anthocyanins; avocados, fortifying vascular health through healthy fats and potassium;
Pomegranates, enabling cellular repair through urolithin A and that mitophagy process; papayas, optimizing gut function and immunity via papin and vitamin C.
And finally, apples, fighting chronic systemic inflammation with pectin and short-chain fatty acids.
Now, we have to articulate the essential distinction that ties all this deep science together.
Which is?
These powerful biological effects are not delivered through miracles. They are cultivated through habits.
Habit versus miracle. I like that.
A miracle is a single event. Longevity is a marathon. The science provides the tools, but the results, the improved brain function, the lower blood pressure, the freedom from stiff joints, they are built exclusively upon consistent, low-effort application of these simple choices.
It's like the compounding interest of healthy choices is the only true fountain of youth.
That's a great way to put it. It is the person who consistently protects their vessels with avocado, who consistently feeds their cell renewal system with pomegranate compounds year after year. They're the ones who see the exponential return in vitality past the age of 80 and 90.
So longevity is built one decision, one meal, one fruit at a time.
The powerful takeaway for you, the listener, is not to feel like you have to overhaul your entire life, which is often unsustainable.
Right.
It's to identify which of these 5 simple, powerful fruits represents the easiest, most consistent habit you can implement starting today. Make that simple choice reliable, and the biological benefits will compound in your favor over months and years. That is the pathway to sustained, independent health.
It's about building a robust internal defense system powered by accessibility and consistency.
Exactly.
The secret to a longer, more energetic life isn't complicated. It is, quite simply, consistent. We've given you 5 highly effective, scientifically validated tools. Each one is a targeted intervention for a specific age-related decline.
And the goal is not just to know these facts, but to incorporate them. Which fruit will you choose to introduce this week? Is it swapping a processed dessert for an apple? Or maybe ensuring you start your morning with a handful of powerful, brain-defending blueberries?
And here's the final provocative thought we want to leave you with, building on the mechanisms we've explored today. We focused heavily on the individual benefits of these 5 fruits. But what happens when you introduce synergy? What happens when you combine the profound cellular cleanup enabled by the urolithin A from pomegranates with the powerful systemic inflammation fighting provided by the short-chain fatty acids from the pectin in apples?
When you maintain a strong, clean internal environment, better absorption, reduced inflammation, clearer circulation, the sum of the parts far exceeds the individual benefits. The potential for systemic synergy in these simple, consistent habits is the real power that's unlocked by this deep dive into the source material.
Understanding the mechanisms helps you make smarter choices that yield truly transformative results.
Thank you for joining us for this deep dive into the science of fruit and longevity.
Stay strong.
Stay curious.
And as always,
Stay wise.